Happy 4th of July, everybody. The day that America declared its independence from Britain, declared its independence from a king, declared its independence from tyranny. Now, of course, America was far from perfect. We still had slavery. We still had everything we did to the Native Americans. We would go on to meddle in other countries, most notably South America. We still had many wars that we engaged in, along with our own domestic turmoil, such as the American Civil War, various booms and busts within the economy, the business plot, Kent State. Now, when I examine the dark history of America's past, it doesn't suddenly turn me anti-American. It doesn't make me hate this country. It's a reflection on the history of our civilization. How did we become a country? What have we done since our inception? And how did we get to where we are now? And right now, things are not looking too great. People are losing their faith in institutions. The three branches of government are molding into one. The Supreme Court has effectively been increasing executive power, curtailing the power of federal judges to rule against executive orders. Congress has effectively relinquished their power over trade and tariffs, again, gifting that to the executive. And now it looks like the big beautiful bill will be passing. Now, John Oliver has a great deep dive of the main aspects of this bill. I highly recommend it. I will link it down below. Also, Catherine Edwards of KED Economics. She also has fantastic content from an economics perspective of what this bill will do. I'll try to link her as well. This legislation essentially gives tax cuts to all tax brackets, though mostly at the top, and it's paid for by cuts to Medicaid and food assistance for millions of people, all while adding trillions of dollars to the deficit. There's also a few more insidious snippets hidden within this legislation, such as putting a 10-year ban on states regulating AI for a period of 10 years. And I'm really not sure where things fell in the sale of public land, but I know that was on the table at one point, if it's not still on the table. There's also a budget increase for ICE. I want to say it's like a 10-fold increase. As if things weren't bad enough, you had Stephen Miller basically saying that ICE needed to increase their numbers, increasing their quotas because their numbers were not comparing well with Biden's numbers towards the end of his term. That's when you get ICE going into schools, going to churches, going to Home Depot, going to farms, going to hotels. Until, of course, people complained to Trump saying that they were taking their staff, and then he said maybe we shouldn't go after the farms and the hotels because Trump's friends were losing out. Now we have the reopening of Alcatraz because that's exactly what we needed, right? So we're kicking people off their health care, we're kicking them off their food assistance, we are imprisoning other people. Even on the geopolitical scale, we are withholding aid to Ukraine, and even just this morning, Kyiv is basically just set ablaze from a brutal missile attack conducted by Russia. Many innocent people are dying because of the inaction of the people leading our country, just like the massacres and starvation occurring in Gaza. And even other places, you still have everything that's happening in Yemen, you still have people in Sudan, which you also have a lack of food aid exports thanks to US aid being cut. So it's hard not to succumb to the dread after reading so many headlines, learning so much about the current state of affairs in the world. But with all of these problems, people losing their health care, losing their food assistance, becoming imprisoned for just trying to live a decent life, people getting bombed, people starving, we cannot trade humanity for patriotism. It is a little crazy how all of these albums on this wall are not only just interconnected because they all are political, they all have some kind of revolutionary connotation to them, but a lot of them, in many cases, are actually more relevant than they were when they were written. And some are more cyclical because history does not always repeat, but it does rhyme. Lamb of God, now you've got something to die for. Bombs to set the people free. Blood to feed the Dollar Tree. Flags for coffins on the screen. Oil for the machine. We had bombs to set the people free in Iraq and Afghanistan, and now we have bombs to set the people of Iran free. The song Black Sites from Misery Index is all about people being abducted, sent to black sites, and tortured, with the line, "Rendition is not a problem until it's you." But one of the most hard-hitting songs, the one where I got the title of this video, Immortal Techniques, The Fourth Branch, link down below, and it hits on so many topics, whether it's Israel and Gaza, the wars in the Middle East, MK Ultra, but also how our perception can be twisted by the lies of the media, the lies of our government officials. But the biggest point that it makes is that you can be a poor working class person in this country, and yet you are supporting policies that are directly against your interests, policies that only benefit those at the top, and yet you're still waving the flag out your project window as if this is all for you. Because again, the media and our corrupted officials have twisted the narrative and made you believe lies. So yes, things are looking pretty dire. I already know of one example of a business taking direct negative impacts from the passing of this big beautiful bill. And of course, tax cuts have shown again and again that they do not help the economy. We saw this with the Bush tax cuts. We've had 20 years to evaluate what those tax cuts did. Was it a net benefit for society? No. Not really. We also had the Trump tax cuts, which we also know how that went. It just added trillions of dollars to the deficit. It did not help the economy for the average person. But food assistance has shown that it does have a direct benefit to the economy. So the trade-off is basically give everyone a little bit of extra cash in their pocket at the expense of knocking millions of people off of their health care and off of their food assistance, while adding trillions of dollars to the deficit, therefore shortening the buying power of those extra dollars in your pocket. But again, looking at the dark history of America, we have overcome so many hurdles in the past. There's no reason to believe that we can't overcome this hurdle. Things are going to suck. They will continue to suck. They will probably continue to get worse. But just like those people, we can't let this be the last call in America, just like that song from Fishbone. And already you're kind of seeing the cracks forming, whether it's the breakup between Trump and Musk. Now even Joe Rogan is criticizing the ICE raids in farms and construction sites. Theo Vaughn is calling the atrocities in Gaza a genocide. Of course, these are influential people who helped put Trump in power, but what's done is done, and at this point, I will take any act of resistance, any kind of pushback that we can get, because at this point, it's going to take what Immortal Technique said at the end of his song, The Martyr. I'm going to need every generation to put your hand up, because you can only get them off your back when you stand up. So anyways guys, happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day. Let's do what we need to do to maintain that independence. And of course, like and subscribe if you like the vibe. Check out the Patreon account for exclusive videos. Check out some of our other reviews of protest music. And until then guys, we will see you on the next video. Later.